All right, hey YouTubers. Hey, real quick, I wanted to do a video for today. It's kind of the doldrums right now. We are in the middle of the desert, actually close to Lake Havasu. And in about 12 days, we're going to be heading back east, as we said in our last video. But I had somebody mention to me that about having all the time in the world. They said something that, well, you live in a van, so you have plenty of time to kill. And so for some of you who aren't aware of van life, it's just not that way. So I wanted to go over, I have a list of some of the things that are our daily and weekly routines that keep us pretty busy. Now, albeit I'm sure that there are some people who have not a lot to do, but it's a pretty busy life. First of all, we're living in the elements. So while at your house, let me see, it's the middle of January, so it may be a comfortable, say 40 degrees at night or 35 degrees at night, and then maybe 42 or 43 during the day. Well, that's what it is here. However, for us, we live in it 24/7. We don't go in and take a hot bath and sit in the living room and watch television. We have to keep the fire going. We have to do things like burn all of our extra wood from the van build. So I have to keep the fire stoked while we're getting rid of some of the wood that we're not using and nobody wanted. We have some that we've given away, but we have a little bit more that we need to burn up just to get rid of. So, so let's talk about van time, okay? I was just going to think that smoke follows beauty, and so it's not near me. So there you have it. First of all, let's just talk about the basic fundamentals of van life. If you're traveling in the van, one of the things that may take time is just finding a site. You usually can't just drive up and voila, you're there. You've got this beautiful site. Sometimes they're very crowded, or sometimes it's pretty remote and the person next to you could be someone mentally unstable or a little strange, and so you turn around and leave. Some people who stealth camp, which is camping without permission, places where you're not supposed to camp, will be woken up in the middle of the night with a rap on the door where they have to move on. But generally, finding a good site takes a little bit of time. It's not like you can just drive up and it's just perfect. Oftentimes Marvy and I will find a place, but it's just not quite right. We have to drive around for about an hour to find something that's more suitable for what we want. And also, since I use the internet to make a living, it has to have a certain amount of cell reception. So sites is one thing. The other thing, which a lot of you do, is shop. We have to shop. We eat. We spend money on clothing and shoes and supplies and candy, or just things like everybody else does, potatoes and ice for the cooler. We prefer to use block ice whenever possible, and that may take us driving around a little bit also just to find block ice. Sometimes we don't. We have to use regular crushed ice, and it just melts a lot quicker than block ice does. Getting fuel for the vehicle, again, just that's not a major time consumer. Propane is, though. To find propane for our tank, we've got a 20-pound tank, and we have to fill that. So once every 3 or 4 weeks, we have to do that. Trash. We don't have curb service, so we have to find places to get rid of our trash. Now, when possible, we use small Walmart bags, or just little small bags that we can break it into, where if we're driving into town, we can drop it in regular trash receptacles. But if we're out for like a week at a time, or 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks, we have to find a dumpster, and you can't just drop it into any dumpster. A lot of them are locked and things like that. So that takes a little bit of time. Laundry. We have to do laundry just like everyone else, and probably more so. Not so much in the winter because we're not sweating and stinky and stuff, and we do bathe consistently. That'll be another upcoming video on hygiene and first aid. But we still get dirty. These are my construction pants. We've been building the van and they get dirty. Socks get dirty, shirts get dirty. You keep your pajamas and whatever you're sleeping in clean, but we need to do laundry just like everyone else. Once you go through all of that, you get your laundry done, you get your fuel, you get your propane, you buy all of your food, you drive around and find a site, and it's perfect, but it doesn't have internet, so you've got to drive around and find one that has better internet. Then you're ready to set up camp. Now, if you just live in a van, you can just park the van, turn it off, and climb in the back. But we have a little portable bathroom tent that we set up. It's is it 3 foot? 3 foot by 3 foot square, and it's 6 feet high, so you can stand up in it and change clothes. That needs to be set up. Solar, I have my solar panels, that has to be set up. So all of that takes a little bit of time. Regardless, we're talking now about just regular time in maybe 1 day or 2 days. That's what it takes. And keep in mind, when you're out there for 2 weeks, you may only have 4 days of water or 5 days of water for 2 of us and a dog. So regardless, we're going to have to take 1 day and go back into a town and get water. So something to think about as a time-consuming thing. Work. I work. I teach English online, and so the main reason I need the internet is to have classes, and so that takes a lot of time. And if I'm not teaching classes, I'm doing this. I'm making videos for YouTube. Marby will be in some of them, not all. She prefers not to be in a lot of them. She's busy doing other things. But then we have to edit them. And if anybody knows anything about YouTube and editing your videos, a lot of them take a lot of time. Now this one won't. I might edit a few things, like if I say the word, I might edit that out and then keep going. So, but some of these other videos that we've done with maps, with little red lines moving through, takes hours and hours to do. Plus the rendering of the files takes time. And then, of course, the uploading. Now, we try to go into town where there might be a Starbucks or a laundromat that has really good internet, just to save my data plan fees, because a lot of my videos are 2.5 to 5 or 6 gigabytes large, and that takes time. The other critical thing, which determines a lot of that and how we live, is Mr. Sun. It's been great in the desert. It's great in Arizona. Arizona gets more sun than any other state. So the solar panels and the sun is great. Once we get going back east, that's going to be more of an issue of how much time we spend on work, and that again affects how busy we are during the day. Let's see. Cooking and cleaning, yeah, just like your home. The advantages is the van is much smaller, and so cleaning is a little bit easier, but it has to be done constantly. I mean, in the desert, there's dust, you're getting in and out. One little thing in the wrong place with 2 people and a large dog living in a small space can be very annoying. So it's a constant battle to keep everything clean and in its place. It's really the most important struggle that we have, is to keep organization. Now, in the next week or 2, I'm going to release our official van build, and you're going to see the van from start to finish. We lived in the van for 5 months before we ever built it. We just had some REI cots and a plastic table, and we just jammed stuff under, in between, and beside those 2 items, the beds and the table, and spent most of our energy and time having a great time. Yeah, another piece of log. Good, get all of this out of the way. And again, we're in the winter elements, and so we spend a lot of energy just staying warm. We have to make sure we have a lot of propane. We don't have a propane heater. We find that the stove works just fine under a low heat. We only have that going when we're awake, and we have the vent popped so that there's proper circulation, so we don't have to worry about carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. So we only use that when we're awake and for short periods of time. I usually wake up anywhere between 3 and 4:30 in the morning. Marvy's still asleep. My first class is either at 6 or 7 in the morning. And so I have a couple hours. I start and I make coffee, and it takes time. But the inside of the van warms up very well. But at night, after we cook dinner and everything, we climb into bed. We turn the stove off because usually with the insulation now that we have, and 2 of us plus a dog, we generate enough warmth so we're pretty comfortable till it's lights out time. The other and final thing is really socializing. We are traveling a lot, and we're running into people. We spent about a month with a friend of ours, and she is another traveler that is pretty independent like us, but we clicked really well together. We kept our spaces apart, but there were times when you need to dedicate time together and meet people. And if you're in an area where there's other people camping, it's good to reach over and make contact with them. And see if they need anything or they have questions. Everybody's curious about where they're from or where you're going, and so we do have some of that social aspect. But the main point, and I'm done with my notes, the main point I wanted to make with this little video is that van life is not just like climb in and spend $10,000 remodeling a beautiful van, go out on the weekend and it's sunshine and flowers are blooming and you sit your chairs out. A lot of these videos that are out now really try to paint an unrealistic picture of it. I mean, and I'm sure that many of you, even if you've gone camping, you've had really cold days, rainy days, windy days where it just wasn't as much fun as those epic campsites with the crystal clear river where trout are jumping out of the stream into your frying pan and everybody is perfect. You know, they look perfect. This isn't that lifestyle, but it has its rewards. I mean, we're really happy. We do have time to relax and go for short walks and things like that, and just watch the sunset, or for me, watching the sunrise. We do have a lot of that type of free time where in special units of time. But generally, I just wanted to impress on you guys that this is hard. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort to make your life complete in the van. As with everything, it has its minuses, but it also has tremendous amount of rewards. So we've been in the van now for a little over 6 months, and again, we're leaving in 2 weeks, Arizona, to start our adventure back east, visiting some friends along the way, and then starting the walk across America around March 1st, which means you probably won't get that first actual walking video until after the first week. I have to actually do it before I film it. So I think that's it for today. I just wanted to get this out for you all, and then I'm going to be able to work a little bit more, burn off the rest of this fire, and then we're going to pack up, and we have to go into town because we're changing locations, and we have to pick up our new mattress from Walmart, do some shopping, get some more ice, and then we're going to find another location to go to. So as always, please subscribe if you haven't. Things are just going to get more exciting as we go. And share with your friends, share on your Facebook if you like the video. And what would be the last thing? Of course, like it, thumbs up. And the final one is, hey, write some comments. Some of our subscribers are wonderful. They watch all of our videos and they make comments and give us feedback. you're welcome to participate. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And if nothing else, just drop in and say, hey, Marvy, we're watching ya, or hey, Rob, this is great, or hey, could you do a video on this? I'm kind of curious about it. You know, you are our viewers. We're looking for ways to make this really interesting to you. Okay? So that's it. I'm going to go keep going with the bar and burn up the rest of our stuff, and then get ready to go into town and start another couple weeks. And anyway, we'll see you next week. Hopefully next week I will have the van built for you. If not, it would be the following week. Okay? Thanks. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.